in honor of spring, I wanted to tell the story of how I got my name. I am April Grace, and I teach yoga and connections and mysteries at New Roads School. My mom loved that in April, all the flowers bloom. And in Latin, April comes from the Latin root of opening. And she loved the idea of the flowers opening and to have a daughter that's open to grace and to receiving grace. And so my middle name being Grace and accepting grace and the flowers opening, emerging into this moment of receiving the light and letting their blossom shine brightly. So one of the things that I love teaching is meditation in my yoga classes, in my mysteries classes, in my connections classes. And for me as a teacher, there is no greater way to impact behavior than teaching students to take a pause and to tune into their own inner wisdom and guidance before impulsivity and reactivity take over. My own way of existing and moving through the world is to try and be as gracious as I can and also be as receptive to the moment. And that's really what meditation is about. It's about moving into the moment and finding that sense of where is my senses? Where is my vision? Where is my feeling? Where am I smelling? What am I experiencing? And allowing that emergence of moment to moment awareness to really reset our whole way of being. And that is what spring is. It's this moment of coming out of winter where we've moved into hibernation, and then suddenly out of that hibernation comes wisdom, and we're ready to emerge anew and really open to whatever arises.
From New Roads School in Santa Monica, California, this is Village Voices. Intergenerational conversations that cultivate an expanding curiosity about the world and its people. This is episode 1, Spring, a time of renewal, growth, and change.
There's a lot of family that I rarely get to see ever. So typically elders will come and kind of like, it's just sort of like a time of catching up. I'm Layla Kolahi. I'm in the 8th grade and I'm talking about Persian New Year. You know, a lot of people don't know too much about it, but it's a really lovely holiday that I love to celebrate with my family. Persian New Year marks like the beginning of spring, like the spring equinox, I think. It's kind of like a holiday of pureness to like get rid of any like, what we say is like get rid of evil spirits. So we set up like 3 different fires and just like small little campfires in my grandma's backyard, and you don't have to really dress up or anything, but you basically jump over the fire and you say this prayer. It goes, Zardia manas to Sorie tu asman, and it basically means, I think directly it means I am your yellow and you are my red, which doesn't make sense directly translated, but it's basically you do that and you say that to get rid of any evil spirits, like you're cleansing yourself from the past negativity of like the previous year.
My name is Attie, teacher at New Roads. I teach a film class, a lot of visual arts classes, honors. The very first thing I like to try to do every morning is go out in my car. There are certain streets that I go down, and what I'm looking for is a billboard or a wall that has an advertisement on it that has been ripped away or torn down so that partially you see behind it the history of what was there before. But sometimes it's what I'm looking for also is I'm looking for certain color combinations. I'm looking for certain forms, certain text. So it's not just like I'm looking for it to be torn down. I'm looking for sort of like a masterpiece. And so I go out shooting every morning before I leave for work because it changes often instantly. So in other words, it can be up there at 7 a.m. By 8 o'clock, they're there putting up the new posters. And quite often I've met a lot of these people that do it. And while I'm there, sometimes shooting and leaving, they're coming. Sometimes I photograph them while they're putting up the new ones. So that's been the process for, I don't know, maybe going back 20 years I've been doing this. I remember it was New Year's. It was either 2 or 3 years ago. And I remember this because maybe it's the most beautiful one I've ever seen. So I'm driving downtown kind of looking for something. It's New Year's. It was New Year's morning. So like New Year's Eve had been the night before. I get down there like at 7 a.m. Billie Eilish's album, I think it was Happy Ever After, I think is the name of it. And it's the album on 2 walls. No, it's on 1 wall, but the album, which is often it's repeated, right? So these advertisements maybe run the whole thing, but there was 2 of them. The whole thing was so worn and torn and sort of dripping and cut and just ravaged. And on the ground were all sort of the embers of all this. I think it had rained either the night before. So, I mean, I have it in my head. It is an amazing, I'll send it to you. It is an amazing image, untouched. Like, it just was perfect. You know, when we originally talked about spring and change, that's what gave me the idea. Part of it is how the city is constantly changing. And if you don't sort of seize the moment, and sometimes instantly when you see it, it's just not there the next day.
I should like to start with an introduction.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Anna Ramirez, she, her pronouns. I am class of 2007, so an oldie but goodie, hopefully. And since New Roads, I have really taken my career in the direction of public health. And have worked in sexual and reproductive health research with a focus on abortion. So I'm working at an organization called IBIS Reproductive Health, and it's a nonprofit trying to create bold change through research. And the project that I'm hoping will catalyze change across the country is an app called Yuki. And it's a period tracker app that is going to connect its users to abortion care services when and if they need it, as well as help them, empower them to kind of know what's happening with their bodies and be able to bring in people who are, you know, transgender, non-binary, and kind of give them a place to feel valid in what their sexual and reproductive health needs are as well. I'm now back working on abortion access because it feels like the next health crisis and the next crisis for our country to deal with. And so I'm bringing to a field that is so beaten down and continues to get beaten down by the policies of this country and the stories that you hear about people just trying to access healthcare and the impact it has on them and their families, there's just so much wear and tear. And I'm coming back to it with a sense of like wanting to bring energy and energize everybody else, because I'm doing work that I think has the potential to be so impactful on people's everyday lives, to help them get access to healthcare, help them feel secure in getting access, help them feel validated in like the care that they deserve and need. So I think of spring as my return to a field that needs energy, and I'm bringing energy, and I'm, trying to make an impact where I can.
Sorry. Sorry, my friend has her backpack in my car. Sorry. Sorry. When did I realize that New Roads was like the place for me? I'm Georgia Goodman. I'm a junior at New Roads School. My favorite color is green, and I'm a big foodie, but I'm dairy-free now. So I think those are good. And I like to make art and shop. So I'd gone to Oakwood since kindergarten, and in 7th grade, or 6th grade, going into 7th, I decided I wanted to apply out because, that's like when you go to the upper school, you change campuses, and like everyone, like some people leave, some people stay, but you get a ton of new kids in. So I obviously like wanted to join the trend of everyone else like looking at schools, and wanted to do that too. So I decided to, look at other schools. Being online was really difficult for me just because I'm more of a hands-on learner, and also like it wasn't a great way of learning for me, and socially it was really hard because I wasn't allowed to see anyone. In 9th grade, I was like, okay, I think it's a good idea for me to like start looking at schools, because maybe I am ready for a change, like especially, and COVID really helped me realize that, because like I was so used to doing the same thing every single day, and like I'd been at the same place with the same people since kindergarten, like mostly the same people since kindergarten. Like I wanted a change. So I decided to look at some schools. Then I started to like really get to know New Roads and like their philosophy and just everything that they go by and they stand by and their morals. And I realized like this was more of a place I wanted to be at. Now coming to New Roads, 10th grade, it's a really weird year to come into a new school. Usually you either go 7th grade or 9th grade or, whatever. But 10th grade's a little bit different because, for starters, it was scary because, like, we had just spent the past year and a half, like, online. And so, like, everyone kind of, like, lacks, like, social cues. Not really, but, it was just difficult because I didn't know really what to expect, because I'm going into a totally new environment. I went to school in the Valley with kids I've known since I was 5 years old versus kids I don't know, and it's in, a totally other side of LA. And I was really nervous, but once I got here, like, it was like I just felt at home. It was such a smooth transition. In the beginning, realizing that I found my place, I think, just the community and the teachers and the people like that you're surrounded by, and also just like the day-to-day like ideals of what you can get done versus what you can't get done, or like what you're able to accomplish, or like how you can look at it from a different approach and how your teacher can alter it so that you can understand it better, is something that like when I like, if I ever have had an issue with, learning something or whatever, like if I went to my teachers for help, like in the beginning, like they were so, and are still so like, okay, how can we do this so that you can understand it? And like you can get the best learning experience from this. And that's something that I really value, because I think that it's really important that when you're learning something, you actually have a connection to it and you're learning it for a reason. Because I think when you're learning stuff just to learn it for, you know, the book or whatever, then it seems kind of pointless, because it's like you're forcing someone to hang out with someone that they don't want to hang out to. It's just not going to be enjoyable for the other person. But I also have found like my inner voice to speak up, like for when things I don't feel right about. Like, for instance, if I'm not feeling comfortable in like a class I'm doing or something that, you know, I was assigned to do, or whatever the fact is, I think that it really brought my inner voice out and allowed me to like speak out. And something my parents have really told me and patted me on the back for is like being able to speak up for when I don't think I'm enjoying something or, you know, thriving as well as I could be. And I think that that's the biggest thing I've learned from all of this and how things have changed.
Today's episode featured April Grace, Layla Kolahi, Chad Attie, Anna Ramirez, and Georgia Goodman. Original music by New Roads student Isaiah Brody and New Roads faculty Ruben Ramos. Production by me, Dan Kearney. I'm also the 8th grade history teacher here at New Roads. Be sure to check us out next time on Village Voices.